Welcome to Becoming More with Leslie Ryan. This is the third episode, you guys. I am really excited that I've been doing this. Kind of crazy to me. I really am just doing this for myself, honestly, to prove to myself that I can do this and to get over my fear of using my voice. That's really how this started. And I speak a lot about that in episode 2. If you haven't listened to that, you can go back and listen to it. I share kind of my journey to getting to this point and the reason why I was so scared to use my voice. So, I really just want these to be truly coming from my heart and really just sharing things that I've gone through, like hard times and like setbacks, and how my mindset and things that I did and how I got through things. That's kind of going to be what this episode today is about, but just in general, that's really what I want to share in this whole, just show. And I think today, like when I was thinking about like last week, okay, what do I want to talk about on this episode? The first two make it very easy about like kind of why I'm doing this and behind the reasons and all of that, and a little bit about me. That's really easy to talk about. But now you're like, oh gosh, I've done 2 now, and now I need to do 3, and I got to keep this going. And I kind of felt this pressure that I didn't want. And then I just stopped. And something I've been asking myself a lot lately while I'm working on building my business and my program and really wanting to help others is that when I feel like I'm struggling with what to say, because it's not about me, and I just stop and I just like take some deep breaths and I just put out there, like, ask, what does someone need to hear from me today? And I just let it go. And I kind of just sit in silence. And this is where my meditation comes in and helps a lot. And usually I sometimes ask this question at the end of my meditating, and just to get some clarity for like the direction I'm going to lead in that day. And that's what I did with this episode. It was like, what does someone need to hear from me? And I want to share a part of like my story, because I want to share the struggles that I went through, but also like the things I did, the small like mindset shifts that I did that honestly, like, I think were such game changers for me getting through those hard times. So that's kind of what I want to share today. And this is going to go back a little bit. It's interesting because I almost wasn't going to share some of this stuff, right? I had someone once tell me, like, your story's not that unique. So, like, what makes you different? And that really hurt, because, like, when you're trying to build a business and trying to share your story so you could build connection with people, so you can serve and help them, like, that's hard when you're like, well, your story's not that unique. What makes you different? And it's like, almost like, well, yeah, why should I be doing this then? Because I'm not any different. I'm not special. But then I thought, okay, the purpose behind what I'm doing this for is to help other women. So then if my story's not that unique, isn't that more of a reason for me to share my story? Because then I can help more people, more women. Because if my story is not unique, that means so many other women have the same story as me. And maybe it's not identical, and we all have, little different parts that do actually make us unique, funny enough. But it's just like, if that many people have a similar story to me, then that's exactly why I need to share it, because we all go through hard times. Like, so many women have a lot of struggles we don't talk about. Especially like when it comes to dating and love and relationships, we've all been ghosted, we've all been broken up with and had heartbreaks, and we carry so much as women that we don't talk about, that I feel like we often feel alone. And so that's exactly why I need to share my story, because we do feel alone, but we're not alone, because we are all very much going through a lot of the same stuff. And yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting, because at first I thought, wow, my story's not that unique. I guess I shouldn't share it. And then when I really stopped to think, it's like, it's not about me. I don't need to have this amazing story that like draws people in and be like, oh my gosh, can't believe what she went through. That's so amazing. And like all of that, like, I don't need this big dramatic story. I don't want that, because then that would be about me, right? And this isn't about me. This is about serving other women and how I could help them. So the fact that my story, again, is more relatable, I think that's great. And yeah. So like I was saying, I have gone through like a lot of hard things in the past like handful of years, and it was just really hard for me to feel like I was constantly always having something happen, always something like negative, a hardship, a setback. And it was such a struggle, because I did feel so alone, because all my friends around me, seemingly everything for them was going a little bit smoother. Like, I don't obviously know all the complete ins and outs of their lives, but it was just like, I felt like I was this friend, like there was always something, and it was like becoming this joke. But I also didn't like that I was this person always like having something negative to tell them. And so it made me feel, even though they were so supportive and I'm so grateful, they were so amazing, it also made me feel just really alone. And this all started really, like a lot of this was at the beginning of 2020. And I know 2020 was a crazy year for a lot of people, for so many different things, obviously. But for me, my 2020, honestly, in January started with a breakup. And I honestly did not see it coming. It came kind of out of nowhere, to be honest. Like, if anything, like I should have been the one doing the breaking up, but I have this big giant heart and I always choose to see the good in people, and I didn't. But then I got broken up with. So that was what was blindsiding, because it was like, wait a second, like this is not how this is supposed to go. But it hit me pretty hard and devastated me to the point like I didn't even know I lived with him at the time, and it was like, well, where do I move? What do I do? And I was so paralyzed to make a decision that my brother, when I was back home visiting family when this happened, he's like, why don't you just move in with us? Like, save some money, figure out what you want to do, where you want to move, and figure it out. And I was like, okay, I guess I can make that work, and I could just commute back up home to get my clients in at the salon, and I could just push them all together like 2 to 3 days at a time and stay with friends, and I'll just commute like the 4 hours and work and then be home with family. So I did that and moved in February and was commuting and doing that. And then March, we all know what happened in March. You know, the shutdown happened and I was not working for 6 months. And it was such a blessing in disguise that I moved in with my family. Even though it was like kind of hard for me to do that, I felt like it was meant to be. It was meant to happen that way, because we got really close. It was really great to be there with family. And I also didn't have the stress of having to pay rent or have a lease somewhere when I wasn't making money, because being self-employed at that time, they didn't have anything as like a financial like assistance for us. It took them like, I think 6 months to get something because I didn't have unemployment. So that was a huge blessing. And just to get to spend that time with my family, it was really amazing to be there. But it, like I said, it was hard because I felt like I was like taking 10 steps back. Like, I'm broken up with, I don't have a job right now. I mean, I have a job, I'm just not working. I moved back in with my younger brother. It just felt like my life was like really falling apart. And especially for me, being someone who loves to, I'm a hard worker. And I think most women, when we get broken up with, we just go into this mindset of like hustle mode and boss babe mode, and like, I'll show you. And like, maybe not even I'll show you, but like, we are just, it's just what happens. Like, women level up after a breakup. Most of us do. We have a glow up. We like promote in our careers or build a business, or it's just usually what happens. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go all in on my business. And I was also a flight attendant at the time and traveling a lot, so I was like, perfect. And then yeah, no, that was not gonna be the case. You're not working, you don't get to travel, there's nothing to look forward to because the world is shut down, so you could just be home and be miserable. I was like, this, and just sit with all your feelings. And it was awful. It was so awful. And I had to do something to pull myself like out of the rut I was in. And I started reading Gabby Bernstein's book, The Universe Has Your Back. Great book. Like, I've like read it a few times. It is so good. And it was probably the beginning of like my mindset shift and all of the stuff that is like gonna come leading up to this, because it really is like, the universe isn't out to get you. It really does have your back, and things align and happen in the most perfect way, but we can never see it in that moment. It's always after the fact. And you know, you tell yourself like it's all happening for a reason, and it's so hard to see it in the moment. But so one thing she talks about is like gratitude. She's really big on gratitude, and how even just being grateful for like 3 things every day, writing them down. And like, if you put out gratitude in this world, more things come to you to be grateful for. You also just start looking at things differently, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I got a little notebook, and I just like would write gratitude and write three things down. And at first, it honestly felt hard. I just stared at the blank sheet. Like, well, don't really know what to be grateful for right now. I'm not working. I'll live back home with like my younger brother, and I've been broken up with. I don't have anything to look forward to. And it was kind of sad to think like, so you're like grateful for your work and your career and a relationship, when really like those are really such basic things. Like, yes, we need a job to survive, but and make a living. But it's like, hello, I have my health. I am not sick. I'm healthy. I'm living back home with family. Like, that is definitely something I was grateful for, even though I felt like kind of a failure doing that. It's like I have this amazing, supportive, loving family. Like, what? That's huge. And I was also back home in a beautiful place on like 5 acres in like the foothills in the mountains. And just to be able to look at it in that perspective of like, I really actually have so much to be grateful for, even though I felt like I had nothing. And so I started doing that. And a lot of the weeks I would literally write the same few things. Like, maybe it rotated between 3 to 5 different things, and I'd write the same things down. Because that's kind of like all I had to be grateful for. But it started shifting my perspective on things. It started making me look at smaller things that really matter, that I should be grateful for. And yeah, it definitely helped me leading up to the next like few months of things that were happening. And I'm really happy like I started it when I did. So I probably started this maybe like around March or April. And then like, so, you know, shut down in March. April, I did my taxes, and I owed like $4,000 in taxes. I was like, that's freaking wonderful, because I'm not even working right now. So definitely, you know, dipped into savings. And then May, my car needed a complete like overhaul. I needed $4,000 worth of work. Again, still not working. And I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. June honestly wasn't terrible. I'm sure there was things, but the biggest thing for me is I actually did get to sign a contract on purchasing and building my house. So there was that was like one thing that year really that I could look forward to, and I'm such a homebody, so that was like really huge for me to find like my home. I just had to wait for it to be built, but that was really exciting. July, we did open back up and could go back to work at the salon. So I got all my lash clients in, got them all like full sets done, and literally as soon as I got all of them back in and their sets done, which like those take 3 hours a person, so you can imagine the workload I had, I got shut down. We got shut down again. And I just thought, I was like, there is absolutely no way, like I cannot work. Like I'm going to lose my business and lose clients if I don't keep working, because I already did lose some for different reasons, right? And so I can't work in the salon. I don't live there, so I can't just like work out of my house. I'm not going to ask the friends I'm staying with to like let me set up my salon in their house. And so I started doing house calls, which was a good idea in theory, but it was also horrible because I'm already commuting up this way like for 4 hours drive, and then to drive all over the greater Sacramento area to like go to my clients' houses and then set up the table and the light and my stool and then take it back down and then drive. I was like, I did that 1 week. I was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. So then I thought, okay, I'll just get a hotel room and I'll work out of the hotel room, and I'll get one down the street from the salon. So it's like close, like they already drive up that way to see me normally. So I'll just do it there and make it easy. They come to me. So I did that for a few weeks, and I was actually getting a deal from a friend of mine who got it from her friend. I was getting a deal on the hotel room, and I think they figured out, they were like, what is going on here? Like, you know, people coming in and out, like probably looked so shady. And so I was not allowed to do that anymore. The deal got taken away, and I was like, okay, so that's not gonna work. And I needed to find someplace else to work. And while I was doing that, trying to figure that out, so I think that took us to August. August is when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And that was like my world came tumbling down on me, and that hit me pretty hard. And I was just like, seriously, this cannot be happening right now. This is just not happening. It's not real. I think anyone, when you get that kind of news, you don't think it's real regardless of the timing or the situation. But just from everything that's been going on the months prior, I just was like, I can't, I'm going to break. This is going to literally break me. I don't know how to do this. And I was like, okay, so do I just move down with my mom then? Like, I have a job up here I can't even work at. I live here with my family. My mom's in SoCal. I was literally all over like most of the state of California. And I just thought, okay, well, maybe I just move down with my mom and live with my mom and maybe start like doing lashes down there so I could be with her. And it was just, I didn't know what to do. And I was working at one of my old lash lounges at the time. Just like, I just was like, I just need a place to work. And she's like, absolutely, you can work here. We were doing, you know, a lot of salons were doing the backdoor thing. And we had to do what we needed to do to survive and like, you know, not lose our businesses, but also not lose our livelihood. So I was able to do that for a few weeks while I was like trying to find an actual like salon to work out of. And I found a place, and I was very hesitant to even sign the lease. I think I was about to sign the lease right when I like everything with my mom was going on, and I was just so torn. And I just was like, Kayla, you just have to sign the lease and stay where you are. You do not need to be building another business right now. Like, even though it's far from your mom, just keep, like, I needed some sense of normalcy. Like, everything in my life was like a complete mess. I was like felt like I was living on the road, out of my suitcase, like I just needed some sense of normalcy. So I signed the lease. I like stayed where I was working, kept my clients, and such a blessing. I actually built very quickly back up my business there, being only one of the only lash artists there. So that was a huge blessing, and it was just felt so good to have something a little bit normal. So that was I think August, September, and then September comes and the second largest wildfire in all of California goes through my hometown. Like literally cannot make this up. I just was like, this is again not happening. Like, you're talking about COVID, cancer, and then the creek fire. I'm like, the 3 C's is what I would say. I was like, this sounds like a movie. This is like a joke, right? Who deals with like a pandemic? And then you talk about cancer, and then now you have this massive wildfire in your backyard. My dad got evacuated, we got evacuated, and it went for like a freaking month and a half. It was like one of the most stressful times in my life. And I was like, okay, for sure, this is when I break. This is when I break. Like, I don't know. And everyone kept telling me, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I was like, I am going to murder you if you tell me that one more time. I could not stand hearing that. But it was true. It was true, right? It really, really is true. So, and I just kept saying, like, I don't know what else. How much more can I take? How much more can I take? I was like, well, I'm not broken yet. I'm not dead yet. So, like, clearly there's probably more coming. And I probably should not have been saying that because the universe kept giving it to me. And October, I got rear-ended and my car got totaled. And I for sure thought that was going to be the one that I would be like, I can't do this anymore. I give up at life. And yeah. And it sucked because I couldn't buy a new car because I was in the process of closing the loan on my home. And so I couldn't that would mess all that financial stuff up. So luckily my dad had a car, an extra like loaner car I could use. And I borrowed that for like 3 months until I closed on my house, which was supposed to happen in December, and then that didn't happen. That was a whole other mess of like stress. So yeah, literally, I am not kidding you. There was maybe like 2 months in all of 2020 that were just a little bit good, a little normal. Like, other than that, it was a complete like shit show. It just was insane. Like, and I have to like go back to like, thank God I started like writing my gratitude every day back in like March or April, because I kept doing it through this, which was really freaking hard. The longer the year went, it got really hard. But like, I found things like how grateful I have a flexible job that I can spend all the time with my mom, right? How grateful that I am with family. Like, again, what another blessing in disguise that like I was living back home with my family that we could be together during this difficult time. So it really, like, I'm so glad I started that because it helped me to be really strong for myself, but also really strong for my mom throughout this, and to be her rock, and just to have this like positive mindset for her, and to be that strength that she needed. And it was interesting because thinking about how so many people are saying that we hear all the time, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which is very, very true. But like we really need to be asking the question, like, why is this making us stronger? And at some point in this year, I started, I kind of was reflecting like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from all of this? What is this teaching me? That was the question that I started asking myself. Instead of saying like, here we go again, like, gosh, like, God sure hates me. Like, why am I being dealt this card? Like, why is all this bad stuff happening to me? I started asking myself, what is this trying to teach me? What am I going to learn from this? Because, right, every hardship, you get a lesson out of it. And just asking that question really shifted my mindset to look at things differently, to look at it like, okay, this is going to come out in some way down the road. The whole bigger picture and reason of all of this is going to like come to light. So what can I start to see now? I might usually don't see it until you're out of it, but just the fact that I can look at this, like, what is this trying to teach me? It helped me not look at it in such a negative light. And it really helped me kind of be more calm about it. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but yeah. So if you are going through struggles and you keep having setback after setback after set, and you're like, the world, the universe just keeps dishing it to me, I promise you, like, it's all for a bigger reason. And stop, I want to say stop saying that, because it's really the wrong thing to say, because the universe will keep giving it to you. But when you start to look at it and ask, what is this trying to teach me? It just shifts and it makes it a little bit more bearable. I know it sounds weird, but it really does help. So I really like something I've heard recently too, which is like why I wanted to share this. I don't want anyone to tell me like, oh man, I can't believe how you went through that. You're so strong. Like, I've heard that enough. That's not why I'm sharing all of this. I'm sharing this because my business coach, one of the many great things he says, but he says like everything you've gone through, all the hardships, all the setbacks, like all of that, you need to take everything you've gone through and make it mean something. And when he said that to me, I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful, because then it really was for a reason, right? If I make it mean something, if I take all my hurt and pain and all the hardship that I went through and things that I learned, things that helped me, if I make it mean something and make it mean something for someone else, not for me, for someone else, then it's worth it. Then it's like, okay, so see, like 6 years later, I feel like it's coming full circle for me, and I'm getting to see like the why behind all of it. But I also wouldn't have been to this point if I didn't start processing that prior to this, because there was still a lot of things that happened in the years after that. It wasn't just like everything after that year went all smooth, but it definitely helped me get through some other pretty difficult roads that were following that, because they did get a little bit harder for sure in the next year or two. So I think if you can look at things you're going through, and instead of asking why is this happening to me, but like, what is this trying to teach me? What can I take from this? And how can I make it actually mean something, and mean something good, right? Mean something positive. If we can just turn it around in our minds, it really does help. The mind is so powerful. It really is. Which I feel like this is a whole nother conversation for another day. I think that like this episode kind of feels complete right now. I think that one will be just like for another day, and can tie it into this. But I just like want to like kind of wrap up again and saying like, some of your greatest and biggest lessons are gonna come from the hardest moments of your life. And Man, guys, I did not think I would get this deep so quickly, like the last two episodes, even, and this one. But this is, like, honestly, I think this is why this is really good for me, because I have this big, deep, beautiful heart that I think sometimes I've hidden and been a little bit like shy, that I feel things so deeply. But I think when you can just know that all those hard things are going to make you a stronger, more beautiful, resilient person, it's all worth it, because I know it has for me. And I'm so grateful for the woman I've become. And it's like, that's what I just want to encourage you to keep going, because it's just growing you to be the most beautiful version of yourself. And the most interesting thing is when you can look at all those hardships and then look back at them and be grateful for them. It really is just so amazing. And it's really crazy, because I've said this a few times to a few select people. And one of my biggest hardships is losing my mom. But it's also grown me into this strong, beautiful woman. And what I had to go through after that, and losing like my best friend, like, and the growth that came out of it, and how resilient and strong I've become from it. I like wonder who I'd be if I never lost her. And it's really weird to say that I'm almost grateful like I lost her, because I love the version I've grown into, and I wouldn't be this version if I didn't lose her. So that's like, I feel so guilty saying that, but I also know that my mom is like so proud of me for who I've grown into. And so again, yeah, your hardest lessons, your hardest seasons, they're just preparing you for an extraordinary life, and they're preparing you to do like something great with it, because we can all learn from it. You can learn from it. You can do something amazing to help others learn from it. I know women, we have these big hearts and always want to give back to others. So yeah, if you could just keep the faith and just trust the process, and know it really does all work out so beautifully in the end.